like so.
Welcome to 520 Sports Talk. I'm Sean. That's Bill. Behind the camera is Andy. Behind the three cameras is Andy Taylor. We're back again for another wonderful episode of 520 Sports Talk. This is episode 37.
And we're back in our original home away from home at Z Pizza.
Yes.
It's good to be back. We haven't been here in a while.
Yeah.
5 Tuesdays this month, so it seems like forever.
I know.
Since we've been here. It's kind of strange.
Yeah, and you can't see the sign in the restaurant here on camera, but it's the home of 520 Sports Talk. So come down. We're at Z Pizza and Tap Room, the corner of La Cañada and Naranja. Amazing pizza, salads, drinks. They have 12 beers on tap. They have 4 wines on tap. We have an older group today. We've been focusing on high school for a while, so we can actually talk about drinking now.
Yeah, we can talk about drinking.
I mean, I'm not saying older in the sense that, I'm just saying that it's not high school anymore, the last 4 weeks.
We have adults here.
Yeah, we have adults, here that can talk about adult beverages, which
That's
is
right.
nice. So, if you haven't tried, there's I think it's $5.20 pints.
Yeah.
And $5.20.
No, they changed it. $2 slices.
$2 slices.
Yeah, even better.
So come on down. So we're excited. We have a great show. I'm going to have Bill introduce the guests, but before we do that, I want to take 2 minutes and I want to introduce our sponsors, because without them, this wouldn't be possible. Obviously, Z Pizza and Tap Room, our home away from home, so make sure to join us. La Cañada and Naranja. You have an hour to get down here to meet the ladies here, to have some wonderful food and drink. So Z Pizza and Tap Room. Additionally, I want to put another sponsor here, not really a sponsor, but someone who this couldn't happen without, and I want to put them at the forefront. Andy Taylor Media has been with us since episode number 1, who really helped us out when we had nothing. So Andy, thank you very much for making us look great. I only use 3 pounds of makeup to make myself look this good. So thank you, Andy, very much.
I didn't have time to make this green.
Is it green for? Is there a reason for the green, or
better than gray?
Am I missing something right now with green? I'm like, is it March or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, we want to thank. There's so many to thank. Oasis Air Conditioning and Heating.
It was hot today.
Yeah, it was warm, and then it cooled off. My son had basketball practice. It cooled off for us, which is nice, low cloud cover. Talk to David Murrieta at Oasis Air Conditioning and Heating. Get that all tuned up.
Actually, I talked to him today. They're having, and you might want to check your own system, because of the weird kind of winter, spring we had with hot, cold. A lot of the air conditioning units are kind of, spazzing out, I guess you would say. So
it was like my moods.
Yeah, exactly. So call him, tell him you mention 520 Sports. Yes. You'll get a deal on your work that is done, and they're one of the best in the business.
Yes, Stray Dogs, River and Stone. Great food at Stray Dogs. We do a few shows there. When we're not here, we're usually at Stray Dogs. So enjoy the food. Enjoy the 17-inch donuts. I don't know if you guys heard about that. June 9th. I realize, but 17-inch donut.
You guys probably don't watch the Food Channel at all.
Right. But there's a show called Ginormous Foods, and they're airing June 9th, and they were down at Stray Dogs. And they made a 17-inch donut, which they now serve for birthday parties instead of cakes and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool. I always feel like I'm forgetting people when I do this.
I feel like kind of weird talking about carbs in front of these ladies.
Carbs are the devil.
Donuts are my favorite.
TucsonAlist.com if you're looking for a quality service provider. TucsonAlist.com. The Rock
is rocking.
They have so many great local shows
this month.
Last month. Yeah. I feel like it's June already.
Yeah, it's
not
30.
June.
Yeah.
But next month, make sure to check out all the local stuff at The Rock, and also Michas, our very first sponsor, Michas Mexican Restaurant on 4th Avenue. You can't always be eating pizza and 17-inch donuts, so when you're down on the south side, enjoy some of the best darn Mexican food you can find.
And margaritas.
Since we're talking about adult beverages, we can talk about margaritas.
Yes.
I feel so liberated to have adults on the show.
Yeah, I know.
I don't... What's that?
And how can we forget?
And then
how can we forget our lead
I was hoping he would be here, because I was hoping he'd walk in the door, which is why I was delaying this. I didn't want to spoil the surprise. I thought Chris was going to make it, but Chris Lawler with NovaHomeLoans.com. LoansByLawler.com if you're looking to purchase or refinance. And then maybe talk to Brittany, because she may have a real estate connection. It's, free plug in there right there. But LoansByLawler.com. Thank you, Chris Lawler, 260-4846. But now, let's get to the moment we've all been waiting for. Bill, why don't you introduce our guest today?
Okay, great. Glad to be back at Z Pizza. Like I said, it's been a while. And today we are so thrilled to have these ladies with us. We're going to know the difference between bodybuilding and fitness competitions, what they go through, what they have to do without, their state of mind when they're in the middle of a competition, that kind of thing. So make sure, if you want to ask questions, Facebook, make comments, ask questions, emojis, all the way across.
Yeah.
No sad faces and no mean faces, but everything else is on board. So to my left, I have Danielle Pressler. Say hi.
Hi there.
And you guys, when you talk in the mic, it's almost like you have to eat it.
Good, I'm
We're at
hungry
Z
anyway.
Pizza, so
There we
I'm
go.
sure it's flavored very well.
Exactly.
So.
Across from her is Brittany Palma.
Hello.
Next to Brittany, you have Amariz, Mendoza.
Hello.
And last but certainly not least, my personal friend, Tamara Mack.
Hey, you guys. How are you?
So, we're excited to have you. I think what would be really great for the viewership, please send questions in. Hey, Teddy Critchlow is watching.
Teddy from Utah, we love you.
So, ask questions, because if you have questions like we do, you don't know all the intricacies of what they do, ask questions, because I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to ask all the questions that we want, but this is an interactive show. We want to really involve people. So, whoever is here, feel free to share this on your Facebook page, on your Twitter feed. We're on Twitter at 520 Sports Talk. If you guys need to plug anything while you're here, please do. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. We rebroadcast the show on YouTube. So when we're
Actually,
done
Brittany
here,
blew up our Instagram today, so it was nice.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
I saw there was quite a few shares of a lot of different things on our social media today. So thank you, Brittany. So we'll start here, and if you don't mind, tell us kind of what you specialize in, how you got into it. I think would be a really great way to introduce the whole segment. So
Okay. Well, I'm what's called a dual athlete. So I do powerlifting part of the year, and then I do physique the second part of the year, which is really what bodybuilding used to be in women's, and then they added a physique category as they're kind of phasing out women's bodybuilding.
Okay.
So I spend part of the year doing one, training for one, and then I compete in the other part of the year. I grew up, though, in a bodybuilding family. My father was actually a professional bodybuilder, and it was back in the day of Muscle Beach. And in the 70s, when they used to have the bodybuilders come in, and they brought Arnold in, and Louis Ferrigno, and Franco Colombo, we did the after parties at our home. So we got to know some of those people, and I got to grow up, getting plates of chicken wings for these guys. And, so that was just a normal part of life, was getting to see those guys in the gym and living that lifestyle. I didn't really start competing until almost about 3.5, 4 years ago. 2005 I started training. Saw an ad for Sylvester Stallone when he had his nutrition line. It was called InStone. And I thought, hey, I want to get involved with this. And they were doing a transformation contest. So I thought, this is a nice change. Let's give this a whirl. So I did that, went up, ended up winning at about 10,000 entrants, went and did that.
Wow.
We got to go to LA, train with him, do different things. We had, all kinds of different things that they judged us by. Then we were selected for that and got to spend about 1.5 years as a spokesperson for his line. Once I got into that, then I was kind of hooked. And got involved, started doing figure, did figure competitions, and then ended up going into physique.
So talk to us, what is a figure competition? Because we're going to start at the real basics, because we're going to assume that aside from the friends of ours that are watching right now, that most people won't know.
Right. Well, back in the 80s is when women's bodybuilding really came in the forefront. But, it was Frank Zane's wife and, Rachel McClish and Corey Everson. And that's what the idea of women's fitness was. It's changed a lot now, and it really you start at bikini. There's a bikini category. Then there's a fitness category, which is kind of phasing out, but it's a wonderful category because it's really a figure body, but with using the body and with a routine and agility and that type of thing.
Okay.
Then there's figure, which is basically 4 poses that you do, and it's looking for symmetry and some muscle development.
Okay.
And then there's physique. And physique, as I mentioned, physique women's bodybuilding. And that's for much lower body fat, striations, muscle, imbalance.
Okay.
Perfect. All right.
So should we kind of go down the line and see
Yeah,
how
we can
everyone
do
got
that.
into it?
And by the way, feel free to comment on anything that any of these ladies have to say or ask them questions. We only have like 6 questions. No, I'm just kidding.
Each.
So each. Yeah.
Plus all the ones that are gonna come in,
just like our other shows, don't be shy. Emojis, questions,
Exactly.
whatever you guys want to hear from these
I know Pete Martinez
wonderful
is
athletes.
watching right now, and if he doesn't send emojis across, Pete, I'm just
That's
saying.
right.
I'm just saying. So hand it over to Amariz and then tell us how you got into it and what you compete in now.
So I actually grew up doing sports since I was 3. So I've been doing something active my whole life, but you kind of get to a point in your life where you can't really compete in sports anymore, especially at the collegiate level. It's just, it's a lot of maintenance. So
you eventually have to graduate too. So
How many redshirt years do you have?
So I actually came across my trainer on Facebook, just randomly, ads come up on the side of your page. I ended up Facebook stalking her for about a couple years before I decided to kind of jump in and dive into the whole competitions and the bikini category. And I chose bikini just because I'm pretty petite. I was a gymnast and a cheerleader, so I felt like that kind of fit my body type the best. So after 2 years of stalking her, I finally reached out to her, and I just decided to jump in and go for it, and it ended up being one of the best decisions that I've made. And, it taught me a lot about working out outside of just sports and athletics. I learned how to, lift weights and how to eat healthy and just all the things you don't really learn growing up in doing just sports.
Right.
So that's how I got into the bikini category.
How long ago was that?
That I competed?
When you first started.
When you first started,
when you contacted when you stopped stalking your trainer.
About a year and a half ago.
Okay, all right.
So when I told her I was stalking her too, she was so flattered, and she was just surprised it took me that long to reach out to her. But
could go either way on that one. It could be really flattered, or it could be like, okay, block.
Luckily, it was the first.
Right, exactly. All right, so Brittany, same question to you. In fact, we can just go ahead and use that one. Perfect. We're going to be very careful with Andy's microphone.
Yes. Okay, so the question was how did I get into it?
Yes.
I, again, played sports growing up. I think my father really wanted a boy, so I did a lot of boy wrestling and kickboxing, basketball, sports. I did get to play volleyball for a little while, but I was terrible. So after college, I went away, and I now have 2 kids. And once I had my 2 kids, I wanted to find something that I love, something I can be passionate about, healthy, and implement it into my business as well. So I started training, and I did a all-women sisterhood fitness challenge in 2016 and won that. And once I did that, I went and saw a show locally here in Tucson, and I picked one girl. It was actually the show that you competed in, and I chose one girl, and I said, I want to be that. I want to get on stage, and I want to just rock the stage and be confident and show that you can be the most feminine woman on stage with muscles showing and the glow of it, and be healthy, and my daughter to be able to cheer for me. So that's where I started, and I did. I started training about a year and a half ago, and I did my first competition in July, and I did Tucson. Danny who's going up next, is my coach, and so we did the July show, then we went up to Phoenix and did the Phoenix show, and I haven't stopped. So, yeah.
So what part do you compete in?
I do figure.
Figure?
I do figure, and I'm going to stay at figure. I really like it. I'm able to balance being a mom and working and growing as much as I can grow.
Right.
And so that's my goal, is to just keep it consistent and one day go for my pro card. You were, someone who I really look up to, so it's pretty incredible to watch the process of it all and how your body is literally a piece of art that you get to create on your own.
That's great. Seriously, we've wanted to have you guys on since, November? And then just, you guys were either competing or somebody was in town, out of town, that type of thing. So we're really, really stoked that we could all get you together.
I mean, the whole thing really came. It was kind of meant to be, because we saw Brittany here about a month ago. At the CDO baseball show.
Yeah.
And the whole thing sort of got put together pretty quickly within about 3 weeks.
You saw her, I knew how to contact you.
Yeah. So we just can't thank you enough for joining.
No, thank you for having us here. I think it's important for women to empower other women and health and fitness, and just know anything can happen. All you do is work hard.
And not only that, but the goal of 520 Sports Talk is not just to cover U of A football and basketball. Anyone can do that. So we want to bring a lot of attention to the sports and the competitions and things like that no one
that aren't on the mainstream.
No one that doesn't subscribe to ESPN the Ocho, can watch. So that's we're trying to really bring attention to this type of thing, which is why we cover high school girls softball, and we'll cover U of A rugby. People that don't get the opportunity to tell people about what they do. I think it's really important that we do that.
And like you said, it is so important, especially for younger girls growing up. It's just, that maybe don't want to play volleyball or softball or something like that, and they can still have a part of being athletic and, and like you said, build that confidence, within themselves.
And for me, transitioning from high school and being very good at sports to having, a decade gap of not being able to compete, it allowed me to be able to compete and to you are an elite athlete if you are training the way you're supposed to be training for competitions, and that part feels good.
That's great. So why don't we pass the microphone over? We don't want to forget Danielle here.
Hello. So my story is significantly different. I didn't grow up in any kind of sports. I didn't really, I dabbled, I should say, in high school. Actually got kicked off the volleyball team when I was in high school.
Is that a story we should know
Yeah,
about?
we'll get to that later.
All right, okay.
We'll save that for another show.
Okay, all right.
Stay in school is the bottom line. But, I don't have an athletic background. I started in 2010. I joined the gym. And really, my intention was to fall in love with running. I thought it was crazy that people could run for miles and miles and not want to jump off the treadmill in 5 seconds and just quit. So I wanted to understand that. And I ran a couple 5Ks, and it was not for me. Running still sucks just as much as it did that day. But I started to meet some people, and there was actually a woman in particular who worked out at the gym, and she did fitness. She did these workout routines and one-armed push-ups and just crazy gymnastics kind of stuff. And I was like, that is so cool. And she and I got to talking and built a little bit of a relationship. And she asked me if I'd ever considered competing. And I said, competing in what? And she kind of explained it. And I went home and I got on the internet and I was like, oh, it's on. Let's try this. I tend to be a little bit of an attention suck from time to time, and so being on stage and working towards something was motivating, and I got into it and have not stopped ever since. I started as a bikini athlete. I competed in 2010 at the March competition in Tucson, and I did everything wrong. Like, my suit was from Victoria's Secret. My tan was from, Planet Beach down the street, and it was horrible. And as soon as I got a taste in my mouth for what it was supposed to actually be like, when some people would turn and just drop the mic and be like, I'm done, it lit a fire. And so I think I've competed at least once every year since then. I've moved up to figure since then. I also do cross training, so I do powerlifting on the off season when I'm not competing. And really, I think the relationship element of it, empowering other people, but it's such a positive opportunity to make a change that I think we need so much. There's so many unhealthy, overweight, negative energies that kind of surround everyone on a daily basis. And so I think
there's a lot of that. I mean, not even locally, but a lot of people that are just out of shape. It's really kind of an epidemic right now. I mean, I'm watching a lot of Netflix, so I know. Trust me. I know. I Google and I watch Netflix, so I'm basically a doctor, okay? No, but there's a lot of documentaries on right now about how out of shape, and not the round shape, but how out of shape America is in general.
Even compared to other countries,
Well, it's got to be one of the most.
You and I growing up
Australia
in California,
and
it's a
United
little
States.
different,
Yeah.
because people rollerblade down the boardwalk, or they're jogging in San Diego or Newport Beach, where he's from, and so it's a little different. But you come out here, it's so hot, people don't want to go outside, and they kind of get a sedentary lifestyle.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, it's like a sport. It's like TV watching. Enjoying the air conditioning is really big out here. So, shout out to Oasis Air Conditioning and Heating Free Plug.
That's right.
But I think it's really worthwhile. Now, I kind of want to dip into part of it is the exercising, the working out, the training. Talk to us about. We're in a restaurant, so talk to us about the diet portion. So why don't we just start at the other end? We'll go back around this way. Talk to us about the diet portion, and maybe.
So it's perfect.
So
currently
what
on a diet.
for what you all do, what's the most important thing to be eating, to be avoiding? And because I met someone at this smoothie place down the street. I forget, but I guess she competes. But she was basically saying that all she was having was like fish and asparagus for like 6 weeks before a show. And so maybe talk to us about what sort of, in your food repertoire when you're competing or training.
I think fish and asparagus is definitely a prevalent option, but not one that I think you would pursue if you were educated enough to know what the body needs to perform, to cut fat, to maintain. Is this better? To maintain strength.
Thanks, John.
I do eat tilapia and rice as a lot of my meals. Asparagus it's okay. It's not my favorite. I think for me personally, I taper into a diet that is pretty balanced, and clean eating is really what's most important. I think you don't get to eat cookies and 17-inch donuts during this time.
Sorry, James.
Of the
I'm sorry.
Process. Yeah. But drinking a lot of water, keeping things clean, making sure that you have balanced macros, protein, carbs, fiber, and the diet is not cookie cutter though. What works for me is not going to work for you. It's not going to be the same for Tamara. It's very individualized.
Right.
But I think clean would be the main, and preparation, knowing what you need to have ahead of time so that you're not finding yourself at an interview at a restaurant just deciding to eat pizza because you didn't plan ahead. The preparation, I think, is really probably a
So what
main
you're saying is
element.
the pizza's not coming fast enough for you? Is that no?
I must say he was
Speed
very
it up here.
accommodating and offered special dietary restriction needs and vegan pizza and extra meat and all that stuff. So
The Berkeley vegan.
Good job, Z
Yeah,
Pizza.
It's on the menu.
Yeah.
The Berkeley vegan.
And
they
actually,
use-
Z Pizza's really good about that. I mean, it's pizza, but their salads are outrageous here. So, it's just like, you've seen them.
But as Brittany picks up the microphone, by the way, Caleb loves his mommy.
Well, I love him too, so that's a good thing.
So, just want to let you know that was the first comment. Well, there's a few other comments. One of them is
After Michael.
the one of them. The other one was, you do realize that they can crush you. That was actually a friend of mine who sent it in a private message. You do realize that they can crush you, and my response was, yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
And then they're sending a lot of gifts of people working out and people with funny mustaches and stuff like that. So a lot of humor. Lacey says Brittany rocks.
Thank you, Lacey. Between Danny and Tamara, they can probably lift more than everyone else in here combined. So I do agree with that comment.
She was not specific for what it's worth. I mean, I think it was sort of a blanket statement.
Exactly.
I think it's more of an indictment about how. Well, we'll just move on. So we're not going to talk about what kind
So
of.
what
shit
is
I
your
eat, so.
go-to food?
Diet is huge for me because I burn a lot of calories quickly. My metabolism is pretty high, so I have to eat a lot more. Like Danny had just mentioned, everyone's different. So I actually have a chef who does my meal prep for me, DG Chef. So he comes from Phoenix and he'll deliver, and it works for me. I get my diet or what I'm supposed to be taking in on my off season right now for me from my coach, and I work with a coach and a trainer, and they literally look at me every single week and tell me what to cut, what to change, what to add. I just stick to everything green, a carb, and a protein. It's very simple. I try to be as healthy as I can be on the off season. When you're in prep, yes, you are making changes to your diet in order to accommodate the body that is going to hit stage, but that's not going to be 365 days out of the year. It's not.
Let me ask you this. What's the one food you probably miss the most?
17-inch donuts from Stray Dogs? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, enough of the shameless plugs. Okay.
During prep, it's dark chocolate. That's just my thing. Other than that, I don't miss anything. Once you cut it out for long enough, you don't crave, at least for myself, I don't crave a lot of the extra like frosting or cake. It makes me sick when I eat it now. So, But I mean, it's nice to go out more so with friends. It's the environment, not so much the food.
I think since I'm still relatively new to all this, it's really important for me to listen to my coach and trust the process and trust what they're telling me to eat. You know, everybody's body's different, so everybody has a different diet.
Right.
So it's really important to have somebody there to help guide you so you make sure that you're doing what works best for your body. And that's what I've learned, and I've learned so much. You know, you think you know how to diet and you think you know how to eat healthy.
Right.
And I learned that I had to eat 6, sometimes 7 meals a day, and I couldn't believe the amount of food I was eating in order to get ready and stage ready. It was completely different than what I'd ever experienced. And again, there's no shortcuts. You gotta eat clean, you gotta follow your diet, and you have to stick to it to see the results that you need.
Right. Is there any food, I'm going to forget this. So, is there any food that any of you really hated, but you kind of adapted to because you were training?
I wouldn't say I hated anything, but by the end of the prep, I definitely did not want to eat tilapia and asparagus again. I was tired of fish, I'll admit that. It probably took me a good 5 months to eat fish again after my competition. So I can eat it now, but it did take me a while to want to eat that and enjoy it.
Did you have a question because I rudely interrupted you?
No, you weren't rude at all.
Okay, well, thanks.
That's what best friends are for, you
I
know?
nicely interrupted you.
That's right.
Okay.
No, I was like, and this is a collective question, so I mean, you know, probably one or more, 4 answers is fine. What is the hardest part mentally to get over, like, you know, to talk your brain into accepting when you're going on, you know, when you're going from like a resting, I haven't competed in a couple once or something like that, to now I've got to get serious again. What's the mental adaptation, or, you know, the light switch that has to go on in order to change, you know, from a non-competitive, you're still working out but you're not 100% competing, to I've got a show in 2 months?
I think for all of us, if you compete, you've always got certain goals that you know you've got to hit along the way. So You've got your muscle building time period that, you know, maybe you're not in prep, you don't have a show coming up right away, but this is your important time to put on some size, to sculpture your body so the shaping and you know, symmetry is there. So there's, at least for myself, there's really no off time. You know, that's the hardest part for me in this psychologically, is that I can't do rest days. You know, what's a rest day?
Okay.
I'm not good at that. For me, working out is a therapy. So I want to be in the gym working hard.
So it's just a way of life now, 365.
It really is.
Okay.
I mean, you have your rest days because you have to.
Right.
But it's not my fun day. I would rather be in the gym. And for me, that's a therapy. You know, I smash weights. You know, some people want to smash other things. So for all of us, we kind of, you know, address that as the way we live our lifestyle. So that's how we kind of approach that, I think. The harder thing is knowing when to cut certain foods or habits that you're used to. You know, I have a trick. We're talking about diet, and it's a really important part of it. And I'm super basic when it comes to eating because I know what works, and that's what I eat. And I think of food as fuel. But the hardest thing is you're sitting home at night, you're watching TV, and it's all food commercials, and you don't realize that until you can't eat those foods. You know, so I always taught myself a trick.
Never thought about that.
Yeah, you know. So you look at the foods on there, and I try to tell myself they're colors. I see colors. I don't see food, because if you see food, you get smells. You think of the smell. You think of the taste, the Pavlov response. If I look at it and say, that's orange, those nachos, they're orange and yellow. That burger's brown. Who wants to eat brown? I mean, it's just a psychological trick that I've used. It seems to work, so I look color. I tell myself colors when I see food, so I stop getting those cravings. Once you kind of get over that, you get into what's normal for you, and you can deal with it. It's not as hard as it seems.
So when you're watching TV, you're like jonesing for a Lysol commercial or something?
Right, or yellow, whatever. No, you do.
For me, it takes a lot. It takes a team for me. I'm not very good on, I definitely love hitting the gym, but to reach the goals that I want, I'm a very extreme person, almost obsessed with what I do. Obsessed is a good word, okay. So I like to have a coach in order to bounce off. So that's how I transition. Like, the growing season for me is very hard because I like how I look on stage as well. And so it's, you know, it's important to get with people who understand that it's okay to, you know, allow yourself to make some adjustments and keep yourself healthy, you know, but it definitely, for me, it's having my team around me in order to get me motivated back in. And just looking at those stage pictures, that's motivating enough.
I think the other thing mentally is to remember that it's going to be there. Like for me, for example, I've been prepping already for about 10 weeks, and I would love a donut or some cheesecake, and there are days when I think about it probably more often than the average person should. But it's going to be there. It's going to be there in 6 weeks when I'm done, and honestly, I won't want it. I think the last prep I did, I had a stack of Oreos, like 6 or 7 packages high in my cabinet, and was so excited for these Oreos. And after, there's still 4 packs unopened in my cabinet from, when I competed in November. And it's a mentality to know that you have to shut it off, and it'll be there when you're done. And if you still want it at that point, you can have it. It's really temporary. And, I think that's what gets me through, just knowing it's temporary.
Well, Bill's offering a home to those Oreos. So.
No, not anymore, because she's going to kick my ass and give me the gym.
I want to take just a few moments. We're right sort of in the middle of the show right now to thank our sponsors one more time, because we do want to mention them a couple times per show. So let me take a few minutes, and then while I'm doing that, those of you watching, we know there's quite a few live viewers watching. Send the emojis across while I'm doing that. Ask some questions. We'll build them up. Bill will be able to ask some questions in the meantime. So thank you to Coach Dave Thomas, to William, to Ray. Brenda Bowers says hello. But again, thank you. We're at Z Pizza, La Cañada, and Naranja. Make sure to come on down. You still have a half an hour left during the show. But also $2 slices and $5.20 pints. So if you enjoy adult beverages, come on down. I don't know if you can do a pint of wine for $5.20, but not that you'd want to have a pint of wine. It sounds weird.
Some people would.
It sounds weird now that I say it. Just never mind. Just have a glass. Or 6 or 7, whatever you want to do. Again, Oasis air conditioning and heating. Make sure to get your AC tuned up before it gets super hot out. Also, thank you very much to Lawler, loansbylawler.com. Chris Lawler from Nova Home Loans if you're looking to purchase or refinance, loansbylawler.com. Also, I want to take a quick second out of that. You know what? I'm going to keep going, but we do have something we want to show you. So as soon as I'm done with the sponsors, we have some really cool gear that it's only available for another 3 weeks. So we want to make sure.
And actually, we like you girls because they've got some really cool women's tank tops.
So you
Adidas
can take a look
is
at them,
paired
yeah.
with us.
So
we like those tea bags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would love to see you guys repping us while you.
So additionally, we want to thank Tucson A-List if you're looking for TucsonAlist.com. I have to be very specific because Tucson A-List is different. So TucsonAlist.com. If you want a good local service provider, TucsonAlist.com. Coach, thank you. We're all doing a great job. We're going to plug the Adidas thing in a second, buddy, so don't you worry. Also, Michas on 4th Avenue, fine Mexican food. So they do a lot of catering. So if you're looking to cater a big event, Michas does catering. They cater for Raytheon. They cater for a lot of large businesses. They've been around. We originally thought since the 1200s.
Right after the Magna Carta.
Yeah. Which was 1214, by the way. I'm going to throw that one out there. 1214 for the Magna Carta. Count it. Also, but it's 1976.
Yes.
It's 1976. So.
Which many of you weren't born.
Yeah. So, and then also Stray Dogs. River and Stone. When you're not training for a fitness or a bodybuilding competition, have a 17-inch donut or the famous mac and cheese.
We will be there next week.
Yeah. Bill does a lot of our booking, and so I don't even know what's going on next week. Is it Nogales? Nogales, state champion baseball team.
5A state champion.
Yes. So
first state championship since the 70s, I believe.
And Amy Guillory says thanks for coming. I don't know if that's anyone here knows Amy, but thank you, Amy, for watching. So. Dave Thomas's best Cobb salads.
Yeah, he likes.
He just has the Cobb salads.
He loves the salads here.
Amazing. I don't know if there's any corn in a Cobb salad, but you would think that there would be.
It's usually just turkey and ham and
because it's a Cobb.
Yes. Corn on the cob. Yeah.
And then Andy Taylor Media. I don't forget about Andy Taylor Media for making this look so good. And all the graphics and really fun stuff that you see is made possible by him. So thank you, Andy. I haven't seen any super funny graphics, but I haven't really been paying attention to the stuff. Andy's usually really on top of putting funny stuff on the screen when we're not really ready for it. So usually it's Bill in a tutu or something like that, or someone that looks like Bill.
Well, and it's funny because we have a delay on our monitor, so it's like when we're laughing, it's like why are they laughing? The joke's over already. So it looks kind of strange sometimes.
Also, Coach David Thomas also posted there. Andy coming through in the clutch right now. So he posted our ordering page. So what we have partnership. I can talk. I swear. I do have a degree in this. We've partnered with Adidas, and they've offered their stuff with our logo at a very decent discount.
Very decent.
So you know that if you buy Adidas stuff, that their clothing can be sometimes pricey for T-shirts and for hoodies and tank tops. So I'm going to turn this, and we're going to go ahead and face the camera. Andy, tell me if this is on.
And also, while Sean's doing that, most of the material other than the hoodies is the stay dry material. Every company has their own little name for it and stuff, but it's great for for obviously working out, living in Tucson in general, showing back muscles exactly. So I know I put in my order, and just today I had 3 U of A football players, ex-U of A football players, all pro football players, 1 ATF agent.
They call it climate.
That's right. Jay Dobbins,
type thing is climate.
David Adams, Jerry Beasley, John Kaiser, all ordered from the Adidas 520 Sports Talk gear.
Yeah.
So
for the ladies, there's 2 different tanks. There's a Performer baseline tank, and then there's a next level women's ideal racerback tank. I don't know if ladies are used to racing, or what racerback means. What does racerback mean?
It's that nice T-back, so you can show the back muscles and all the work we put in.
These guys are we need to show them this, and it's like, yeah. So they're all over this. All 4 of you guys are all over this.
I'm gonna get. This is my figure modeling right here.
John, get your credit card out.
Right. So I'm sorry. I won't say that stuff, Coach. I'm sorry. So, anyways, it's climate. That's the slick material. It's
climate. Yeah.
Yeah. Cli-MATE.
Yeah. I think I said stay dry or something.
Climate. We butchered it 6 different ways. We finally got set straight. So, all right, I'm gonna dip into the hard questions now. So we're gonna go right into it. So you just watch out. We're gonna start with Amariz right here. So, talk to us about the importance. I told you this is important. Just listen. Of a good tan.
Of a good tan?
Yeah.
That's a hard biting question.
These are the tough ones, okay? We're not going to tiptoe around this stuff, okay?
I mean,
we're talking about tanning.
People need to know.
I mean, besides the fact of who doesn't want a good tan,
right.
We all love being orange on stage. That's just the appeal of it. And you got to show off your muscles. I mean, it shows off everything. So the tan is everything. A tan can make and break, like, how you place on stage. So it is really important.
So is this like an airbrush type thing? Like you have a person that will airbrush, tan, that kind of. So it's not like a booth thing, you know, where you kind of have the twirling.
No, it's
things.
a live person. You were just standing in front of them, bearing it all, and they are just going for it.
So there's no like staycation at La Paloma where you're laying out by the pool?
Oh no, it was like, good morning, it's cold, here I am.
Yeah.
So
make me tan.
Is it better to not be tan and then to add more tan to your not tan? Or is it better to be already a fair amount of tan and then just add to it?
That's a good question. I mean, I'm already tan and just added to it. Okay. So for me, that worked out. I would have to ask another.
As does the Latin skin, right?
Right. But I mean...
Yeah, I wouldn't say it matters. I mean, all the girls have to get it regardless, and they all look great on stage.
Is it all basically like they know what color to order sort of thing, and it's just everyone has the same thing basically, so there's really no difference?
Oh yes, they've all been doing it. I mean, I was embarrassed and uncomfortable, and the girl's like, I've been doing this for years. She's like, don't even worry about it. And she just went for it. They know what they're doing. They can match the color that you need for stage.
Is it like going to the paint store and like...
You're going down to Home Depot. Not this one. No. Yes, this is the one here. No. Probably a little bit more selective than that.
All right, what I want to talk to you girls about is, like you said, you don't have any downtime. I know there's injuries, just like in any sports, football, whatever, there's injuries. You kind of have to scale it back. I know he's fantastic at pushing you and maybe pulling back a little bit, if you're pulling something. Obviously the body needs time to heal. being a medic for the fire department for years, and just tell us about how you deal with injuries, not only physically, training-wise, but also psychologically.
Psychologically is definitely the most difficult part. Being grounded from what you want to do or think you should be doing is hard to deal with. I'm not a great person to talk to about it because I will push through as many injuries as I can and not take the time off I really should. Once you get in there and the adrenaline gets going, you can really work through a lot of things. If you've been in the sport a while, you're going to have injuries, and you have to learn to compensate for them with training, with posing, with different inadequacies. You get a shoulder injury. One shoulder gets a little bit larger than the other. I've got to learn how to pose or change the way I position myself when I'm on stage or that type of thing. So you learn, and you try to see what works and what doesn't. But that's the hardest thing to adapt with. And as an athlete, I think that's one of the most difficult things you can deal with, is how to do that.
We have a lot of questions that we've been ignoring, so we're going to ask a lot of questions. So rapid fire, whoever has the answer first, pick up the microphone. Don't break anything. Okay. Okay, so this one I can't tell if it's a serious question, but David's asking, if you don't have any back muscles, just stick to the long sleeves instead of the racer back. So.
Oh, the shirts, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Danielle, we have a question for you. Do you have a competition coming up, and are you ready?
You're never ready until that morning of. But I feel good about my prep. It's probably the best prep I've had so far, and the readiest I have felt at this point.
And how far away is the competition?
I'm going to say yes. I'm competing twice in July. July 1st is my WBFF show. That'll be in Tempe at the Tempe Arts Center. And July 8th, I am doing the Tucson Terminator. That'll be at the Fox Theater.
Tucson Terminator.
Yes.
Is it just a name, or is there something to that we should know about?
So the Terminator is the NPC show that we have every July here at the Fox Theater.
Okay.
That's, I think, the only relevance.
So, all right, Brittany, you haven't spoken in a while. What is the most common injury in the sport?
Everyone's different. You're working every muscle all the time, so I don't really have a concrete answer for that.
Okay.
What's the most frustrating injury?
Oh, yeah.
For myself?
Yes.
Shoulders.
Shoulders?
Yeah, I would say mine. Mine have been my shoulders. I shattered my finger, and I had a good team members that just said, just wrap your wrist to continue to do pull-ups, and that's what you do. You work through it. You don't, but shoulders are definitely.
So you're saying it was 9-finger pull-ups? Is that what you're saying?
This finger was out of the loop. It was gone for a while.
Uh-oh. No good.
Amariz?
For me, I have really weak ankles, so doing sprints every day was definitely a difficult thing for me. And even towards the end of my prep, I ended up injuring myself, and I thought it was the end of the world, and I didn't know how I was going to do cardio. And you just kind of have to work through it, wrap that up in probably about 5 inches of athletic tape, and push through.
So how do you adjust your cardio when you have an ankle injury? Do you move to a different, instead of running, would you go to an elliptical, or would you move to
a bike or something?
I know that, or like a bike or something like that, where there's not as much impact on your ankle.
Yeah, again, you listen to your coach, and they'll advise you what to do. So I did end up doing some sprints still, but I would mix that up with the Stairmaster just to keep some weight off of my ankle.
Stairmaster.
Yeah.
They still make those?
Oh yeah, that's the best cardio machine.
Well, they kind of have like a revolving one now that I've kind of basically seen that instead of just coming down, like it's almost like an.
They've got moving stairs now. It's like the evolution of gym equipment. Yeah.
Well, then they really threw a wrench in it when they invented the Jacob's ladder.
Yeah.
Oh, that thing looks terrible. That is terrible, because I would probably fall, and then my ankle would go on one side. The rest of me would go on the other side.
Is that the one that goes like this?
No, it's basically it's kind of like, it looks just like a ladder, but it just revolves.
Oh, okay.
You just keep climbing the ladder.
You put a little belt on, though, so it will keep you from...
All right.
Yeah. Oh, there's a belt to it?
There's a belt.
Oh, weird. My trainer was terrible.
Now,
he just sent me on there and just said, hey, try that one out.
Let me ask you this. When you're really working the back muscles, you're going really out wide on the pull-ups, right? And so as wide as you can get to really get that V in there.
I was going to say, if you're doing lat pull downs, wide. But there's so many different angles and twists you can do with rows and bent over rows, and to really hit those outer lats and to get that width. And that's always a challenge for women, is to get the lats to be able to get that nice V, to make the waist look smaller and the curves. So that's always something.
We can't all be like John, so.
He's like, no, you can't.
I know John just like 2 weeks ago at Snap Fitness, he had me doing exercises I had never even attempted in my life. So there's all different workouts you can do.
So you're saying that even several months, years into it, there's just different things that you may not have known before. And do you find that when you incorporate those, you're working muscle groups that you really haven't focused on, and then you're actually going to get some of that initial muscle fatigue and things like that?
I think you have to keep in mind every artist paints a picture differently, right? So every trainer is going to have a different perspective, and every workout can be done in, like Tamara was saying, in so many different ways. You can have wide grip and narrow grip, and you could do negatives, you could do pause reps, there's never going to be a time where you know how to do every single workout every way possible. It would be damn near impossible.
I'm going to keep interrupting you all darn show, and don't you forget it. So
just buy me a shirt.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. You want the racer back?
Yeah.
All right, good. To define your back muscles. There's new fitness equipment, workout equipment comes out all the time. Is this like necessity is the mother of invention? I mean, like so many years ago, you didn't know what a kettlebell was. And now kettlebells are like they were a really big thing, especially right around the time when the movie 300 came out, because I guess they really pounded the kettlebells, part of the 300 workout. But then, you didn't have a Jacob's ladder, you didn't have this and that. So what determines how that comes out? I mean, like, because, you have a treadmill, then you have an arc trainer, which is sort of like a low impact thing. So how do you describe how those are invented? What do you find is sort of the trend that causes these to happen? And then is there something cool we've never heard of in terms of workout equipment that we really need to know about?
I mean, it depends, too, if you're talking about cardio equipment or you're talking about workout weights equipment. Both, yeah. Well, and one of the other things you didn't even mention is gear. Are you using wrist wraps, knee sleeves, things that help your weightlifting belts? Those are also things that you can use to implement with the workouts to allow you to lift heavier, to overload, to build size, to hit things better, to protect yourself. So that's one of the things in having a gear company, unbreakablegear.com. We are able to work with lots of different athletes and have those kind of products and that type of thing.
Okay.
Different kinds of bars. You mentioned equipment. That have a different way of handling the weights, that take stress off certain joints. So all of those are important ways to hit your workouts differently.
Sure.
And to do kettlebell versus dumbbells. They're all different ways to hit that differently, and it's great to use that in your routines.
Now, I got coming from a medical background, do you guys confer or ask questions of people that have degrees in kinesiology or, A&P and stuff like that to try to enhance either your performance workout or something of that effect?
I think your coaches, that's where a lot of the coaches come in, and if you don't know it, you're certainly going to talk to people who know that and are going to lead you to that.
I think along with your coaches would be people that know your body, I'm a massage therapist, and so I think in terms of functionality of the muscle, attachments, insertions, you were talking about injuries and having a team of people that can kind of help relate what's going on in your body to what needs to be going on in your body is part of that too, I think. Does that answer your question?
No, that does. And just to kind of follow up on it with the, if you're doing the same exercise all the time, obviously your muscles are going to get used to it. You need to shock them back into a growing phase or a stridation or something. Obviously it's different with everybody, but how do you know when to change is what I guess would be the question.
With working out, for instance, with my routines, I'm going to do a heavy week where I'm hitting all the body parts and I'm doing low reps, heavy weights. Then I'll switch it up another week and I'll be doing supersets, or another week where I'm doing very high reps. And so you're constantly changing the stressors on your body, so your body and your muscles don't get used to anything.
Sure. Right.
And
that makes
keeps
sense.
changing and growing and getting sore. All those things are important to grow muscle.
Sure. We have 7 minutes left, so I want to get to a few of the questions here. But did you want to chime in on that one?
No, I was just going to say, I cycle through different strategies of growing, and
we have 4 more questions I want to get to at least. I know we have about 8 minutes left, so we should be okay. The first one, we'll go for the 2 right here. What would your advice be for someone trying to get into conditioning, to get in condition to weightlift after not doing it for a while?
Get a trainer and a coach. For sure, a trainer, 100%.
Okay, because he says, I often see people lift hard for 2 days and they can't hardly move, and then they just quit. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of it's got to be consistency.
And you have
Yeah,
to
the
work through
quitting
it.
part needs to
You're going to
go
have
away.
a sore week, you know.
Yeah. We want to say hey to Mark Morris and Summer Fox. Thank you for joining us. Summer Fox from Pueblo Basketball.
Great
Mark
athlete.
Morris,
Looking
pitching
forward
coach.
to next year.
Yeah, Mark Morris is a Pima baseball coach, one of the Pima baseball coaches. We'll have Coach Allday on next month. Mm-hmm. So,
And
want to
Coach
acknowledge
Tomey
them.
coming up, too.
Yeah, and Coach Roz. We'll have it with
Coach Roz
good
and
one.
Coach Tomey. Coach Tomey's now with Pima.
Is he really like full time?
I'm not sure full time,
I
but
know he's helping out a lot.
He's helping
which is
out.
really cool.
Yeah.
So, Rocky Hunsinger says hi, everyone. Okay, so the next question. This one's for Bill.
Yes.
Have you ever lifted?
Yes. Football, basketball. Yes.
All right. Okay. Next one's for Brittany. Brittany, you have young children, and has taking this muscle and health venture changed your dietary views for your kids?
Absolutely. They actually now, my daughter will eat salmon and salad with me, and we're all about healthy eating in my home. There's not very many items in my house that don't expire within a week or two.
Yeah.
We don't eat any bread in our home, and it's just because you change it. We eat quinoa and rice and
Quinoa's
healthy
really
alternatives. It's so good.
Never had
Tried
it.
quinoa.
I
You
love
can add
rice.
good.
cinnamon to it, and it becomes a dessert.
It's just quinoa is just so versatile. I
And
have a
cinnamon
love-hate
is very
relationship with
healthy.
quinoa.
It's good for the blood.
Yes.
So there's, you find fitness trends that kind of come up, and then they go away, and then they come back, and then they go away. So for a while, like P90X was a big thing, and then Insanity was a big thing. The latest big thing I'm seeing opening up on every corner now is CrossFit. Talk to us if I mean, it's probably a totally different animal, but talk to us about this whole new CrossFit revolution, maybe what it is, and then sort of maybe the good or bad parts about it. And then I'll tell you what I used to train with. It's very similar. So just, it's a setup. Just watch. It's coming.
I personally do not do CrossFit, so I don't have a lot of background in speaking about it. I think if it's active and you're lifting weights, and I don't know how negative it can be, but again, I don't do CrossFit. I think if anything
Yeah.
as well is you're in a group of people who want to be healthy, who want to
Yeah.
be better, and you can't really go wrong with people who want to be healthy and want to be better.
I agree with what Brittany said. I think they have a really good culture. I think I don't personally do CrossFit, but I've experienced it, and I have a lot of friends that are very into it, and I think it's competitive, it's intense, and the unity that it, at least from what I've experienced in each individual gym, is like small families.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of one of the reasons why it becomes so addicting. It becomes a culture, it becomes a lifestyle, and it becomes a family, a network of people that you relate to, and you become like people you spend your time around. So I think, like Brittany said, if you're active and you're doing something and you love it, more power to you.
What about the boot camp thing? That's kind of a new thing, more or less.
It's a lot of. It's very similar. It's very family oriented.
Yeah.
It's very a lot of people getting together and doing this. A lot of it's outdoors, which is really nice. I find that's really cool. It doesn't have to be done in a gym.
I actually
it's
did
just
an Orange
outdoors.
Theory fitness class this morning.
Yeah.
Just kind of boot camp-ish, and it kicked my ass, but it was awesome. It was fantastic.
Is it the one up here northwest, or
I actually went to the one on
east side?
Foothills, River and Swan,
Oh, okay.
Craycroft.
River and Craycroft, yeah.
River and Craycroft.
Yeah, it's right by that little center with the Whole Foods and some restaurants
right.
and stuff
Yeah,
in there.
yeah. Whole Foods. It was great. It was something definitely that I wouldn't have done on my own, and that I think was needed in a way to kind of try something new.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah,
it was really
I
good.
think fit trends are great because it gets new people involved, inspires people who might not want to go into a gym and just lift weights, and then maybe it turns them on to something else. Even though some of them are wonderful, they don't stay around very long, but it gets people interested in doing something and meeting other people, so that's always a plus.
So Bill was telling me about this new trend that he was into about 6 months ago,
Am I going to hit you?
I'm gonna have to shield myself with one of these tomato cans. It's a new thing. It was called CrossFat, and it's stomach confusion instead of muscle confusion. You basically alternate foods of different sweet and salty and good for you and not good for you. It was great. I enjoyed it.
Competition.
No, my competition is just to get healthy again. Like
No,
I was talking to you guys before. I was deathly ill about a year and a half ago, and I had the influenza B virus, and it actually attacked my liver and turned me into like a diabetic in 24 hours. So the body, as you know, coming from a medical background, once again, the body can do some strange things to you, and you know, you have to learn how to overcome it. And medicine to me is, even though I did medicine in the fire department, it's not necessarily the best thing for every type of malady that the body has to throw at you. Yeah.
Well, there's so much that diet can do to help the body heal itself. Diet and exercise. I mean, I work for a stem cell company, and there's so much work that they're doing in stem cell therapy, but the only goal is really to help the body help itself. The body is pretty amazing that way, in the way that it can help itself, and the way that it can build muscle, and the way that it can reduce inflammation. And you know, diet is a really huge part of being able to help the body reduce its inflammation so that it can heal itself naturally. And that's really the cool thing about it, is that you know, there's so much you can do with just fitness and diet that you don't need, like you said, you don't need medication after you've fixed a lot of these things just on your own.
And a lot of medications, as you all know, you know, it's hard on your liver, it's hard on your kidneys, you know, and, you know, just taking it just month after month after month is, you know, can do some really irreversible damage.
I was going to say, going back to the question about, you know, starting your journey over again after you haven't, it starts in the kitchen. You know, I would say 80% of everything that you do is going to start in the kitchen, whether it's to help eliminate how sore you get, to fuel your body. So that's important. And it goes back to having a team, have a team around you. For me, anyone who sponsors, you know, Method Health is a corporate health sponsor that sponsors me. Like, I surround, literally, in my business and in my personal life, people who want to be better and who could, you know, help me maintain this lifestyle, especially being a mom of two.
So we only have a couple minutes left, so thank you again to the sponsors. I won't name them off because it's going to take the whole 2 minutes to do that, because we love you all.
Got a couple of things to talk about for the U of A.
Oh, Bill, talk to the U of A, and then, so we'll give Bill 2 minutes for the U of A, and then if people want to contact you for any reason for advice on this or that or the other, or about Unbreakable Gear, or about anything that you guys are doing, I want to make sure that, you know, they know who you are, how to find you, so we'll kind of give you guys 30 seconds each to sort of talk right here and plug whatever you want to plug. So, but we'll talk about an absolutely deflating, heartbreaking Arizona softball game.
Yeah, I was
so
Sean and I were so up. We got to we covered the regionals that Arizona played against, and they just blew right through there, scored 27 runs, shut out all three teams that they played. Everything was looking good.
Great first game of the Super Regionals. I was there covering that one. They absolutely dominated Baylor in that first game.
And then
the wheels came off.
Little defensive lapse, and some of the defensive laps I think were mental, but it was like night and day. It was like a 180-degree turnaround. I felt bad because the team had not been into the World Series in quite some time.
Since 2010. It's been 7 years, so it's been a little while.
Yeah, so this was the year. I mean, Sean and I have been covering it all year, the team all year long. Coach Candrea says, I've got the pieces this year. Everything's looking good. And it just came to an abrupt halt. The third and final winner-take-all game, we were up by 2 going into the top of the 7th, which is the last inning in softball. And Taylor McQuillan was doing a really good job. She was throwing really well, and for some reason, balls right over the plate were being called balls by the umpire.
Yeah, it was
so she almost, she's just like, what do I have to do to get a strike called? And she hung one, and the Baylor hitter took it out for a 3-run homer, and we lost by 1, sending Baylor to the College World Series.
Yeah,
so
it's tough.
Very heartbreaking.
We'll get them next year. And a lot of people, for everyone out there who's criticizing Coach Candrea for pulling Tooley for McQuillan, just stop.
Yeah.
Seriously, he's been to 23 College World Series.
Gold medal coach.
You don't have more authority in this field than he does. And if he thought McQuillan was the way to go, then who am I to say otherwise?
Yeah.
So
anybody can be a backseat driver.
Yeah.
On the other hand, we are still alive for the men Batcats.
yeah, they're going to
Lost
Lubbock.
2 out of 3 to the Golden Bear. We could have maybe an
Hosted it,
outside
yeah.
chance of hosting a regional, but we would have had to win 2 out of 3 if not sweep.
Yeah,
We're going to go to Lubbock, Texas.
we get Sam Houston first.
Sam Houston first. We
Yeah.
actually had them last year. We beat them. I think we got a good draw. I
Yeah.
don't think there's a team there that we can't beat. I
Yeah.
think we can beat Texas Tech, who's the host school. But
Yeah, we did it last season. We'll do it again.
yeah, it's all about coming together at the right time and peaking, and this is the time to do it. So make sure you watch ESPN for the regionals.
Ocho.
What?
ESPN the Ocho.
The Ocho, yeah, for the regionals. If we can get past this, we'll go to a super. Get past the single team of the super. We're back in the World Series. Fun fact that I saw today on Twitter: we're the only school this year that has that in the field that went to the World Series last year, or even went to the playoffs last
Really?
year. Yeah.
Huh.
So that was
Well, there you go.
the Daily Wildcat put that.
Coastal
up
Carolina's on in it this year.
and stuff. So I don't know if they're if they're back east. I haven't seen the pairings for back
okay.
east. So.
So there's a lot, a few more things. Yay, Amariz from Yvonne Hernandez. So Amariz hasn't said much during the show, so we're going to give you most of the time to talk about whatever you want to right here. So everyone's just complimenting everyone. Awesome, interesting, great show. Good setup tonight. Everything's great. Sharon Feathers, this is a great show. People need to see this. You're getting a lot of love. So
Sharon.
So wishing each of you wonderful ladies great success, and may you always be proud of your achievements. You're all an inspiration. So a lot of great comments. So everyone is loving what we're doing. We've had a consistent audience the whole time.
Yeah,
so
once again, we are thrilled to
Yeah.
have you guys.
So if there's anything, any sort of parting words, or as the high schoolers call it, shout outs that you want to give, just go ahead and the 3 of you would be right here. Danielle, you'll be right over there. But just go ahead and grab the microphone, plug whatever you want to plug, and talk about whatever you want to talk about for 30 seconds. The mic is yours.
Just thank you. These are great girls. We're all going to be competing this year, so watch the circuit. Everybody's going to be going up on stage or doing something exciting. Check it out, unbreakablegear.com. If you're looking for fitness equipment and supplies. Snap Fitness here in Tucson, looking for a trainer, and you can find me, Tamara Mack, or Tamara Cannibal Mack on Instagram.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I'm sure we all appreciate you listening to us and listening to all that we had to say. And if anyone has any questions or just needs some advice, please feel free to contact all of us. I'm sure we've all been through it once, twice, multiple times, so we'd be more than happy to help out anyone who has any questions.
Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching. I am honored to be sitting next to everyone here. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram at Brittany Palma. Very simple. If you see us at the gym, come say hi. We would love, to motivate or inspire any other women and men out there. So thank you.
Definitely want to say thank you. Thank you so much for having us. This has been a really cool experience. Let's shout out to Bliss, the salon. I work there, massage therapy. If you need anything, sports, deep tissue, personal training, nutrition, coaching, muscles and makeup. We have some apparel for the Razorback fans.
You say racerback or razorback?
I feel like they're interchangeable.
Okay, because one's from Arkansas and one's a tank top. So
Let's just go with the tank top. We'll
All
just
right, fair enough.
ladies
All right.
tank tops.
All right.
So anyways, that's it. Thank you so much. You can find me on Facebook, Danielle Pressler, Instagram, fit_Miss_Danny. I like to keep it real complicated.
Right, yeah.
But,
So if
there
you're
it is.
scoring at home, that was
That's right.
several underscores in between.
That's right.
Just search my name. It's a lot easier.
There you go.
Thank you again for having us.
Oh, thank you all for joining us. It's been great. It's been a really nice education to learn about, the fitness world and everything like that. A lot of stuff that we didn't know. I do have, you asked for advice, and I'm going to ask you for advice. So, I have a gym not at home, but in my apartment. So for those working with a very limited space who don't want to go out to a bigger gym because you have this resource, would you be able to help either myself or anyone watching, a good routine, just working with what they have?
Yes.
it's super important because, I mean, I'm just kind of getting back into it. I was telling Bill that about a week and a half ago, I completely changed my diet. It's just almost all whole foods now. A lot of greens, a lot of fruit, a lot of vegetables. Just pretty much cut out most meats in general, a little bit of seafood here and there, but I went totally clean as much as I could. I felt terrible for the better part of like 3 years. I felt really bad for like 3 years, and I was just caffeine, and I couldn't regulate myself, and it was really terrible. For the last 10 days, I felt so good. Like, I don't need, it's all water, whether it's mineral water or just regular water, like, but it's so amazing what the body will do when it starts purging out all that garbage that you've been stuffing into your face for so long. And speaking of fitness, Bill's going to be fitting some wings into his mouth pretty soon, aren't you? No wings?
I've already eaten.
I've been waiting for that fitness joke all show. You ruined it.
I'm good.
Ruined it, Bill. Anyways, thank you all. Oh, there's one more question that came in. I don't want to ignore that here. And I may ask the person who asked the question on the low end or the high end. Is there an age, on the high end, is there sort of an age cutoff? No.
It's kind of like surfing,
Jack
man. There's old
LaLanne
man
was
that
doing
surfing.
stuff till he was like 90-something years old. So it's like, yeah, it's true.
It's like surfing, man. You see like old men surfing.
Well, there's actually divisions too for those who want to compete in masters, senior masters. If you're thinking of competing, age is not. It's a mentality. It's not a limiting factor by any means. So do it if you thought about it. Do it.
So for those of you who are saying, I'm 87 watching this and I can't do this, you can do this, okay? And there's proof right here.
That's right. Real quick, next week we will be back at our other home away from home, Stray Dogs, River and Stone, with the 5A newly crowned state champion Nogales Apaches. They want to come up to the Big T and show off their rings.
You wussed out on that one.
I know I did.
You wussed out on that one.
They want to come up to Tucson to the big city and show off their rings. So please come out and support us at Stray Dogs. The Apaches, good kids, smaller town, but they work just as hard as anybody else here in Tucson or Phoenix. So come on out, check us out at Stray Dogs.
Yes.
And donuts, pizza, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Also, they do have a veggie burger there. I had it last time.
That's right, you did have a veggie burger.
I had it last time. I had the veggie burger. It was really good. It was really good. Anyways, so the Z Pizza is open for another hour. So come on down, enjoy some food, drink, enjoy all they have to offer. Great salads. Apparently, Coach Thomas says they have a great Cobb salad. So maybe I'll be trying one of those out. But again, thank you so much to all of our sponsors. Thank you to all the ladies here for joining us. We really appreciate it. Thank you to Andy Taylor. And for Bill, I'm Sean. We'll see you next week.